And hello again. My name is Anya, and today I will continue the rune series with Laguz. And it's a 21st rune of the Fudak, so we are almost at the end of the rune journey. So after this one, there are 3 more to come, and then we are done with that. So let's talk about Laguz, or also called Laguz. I'm getting into the meaning of that in a bit, because it's for the leek, the veggie, the leek. Its element is the water, and it's a female rune. And its tree is the willow tree and the leek. So its deities is Natus. Many people probably not know who that is or who celebrated with her, but again, I will talk to it a bit later. So since the element is water, of course, because Laguz stands for the water, for the primal water, like the sea or the wave, and it's a source of organic life, right? The primeval water, like the source of everything. And there's a latent potential between ice and fire in this rune. And it's also about the organic fertility and charging your own energy. And also, very important, it's a herbivory rune. So if you want to get into healing with herbs, it helps you to connect. And also, it stands for the leek. But again, I'm getting into that. So as I said, Laguz means water or the sea, and it is a rune of the sea from which all life sprang. Laguz stands for the unformed life, for still unformed projects, and everywhere possibilities are waiting for you and for your further development, because as you remember, we started walking our new path, right? So in this rune is also responsible for our dreams, and those of the day and also those of the night, because we dream at day and we dream at night, you can say. So what she tells you is to move like the sea, to be moving like the sea, and do not be afraid of change. So watch the creation of life, so that everything stays in flux and everything can flow. And the idea of most people when they think of water is rather like pleasant associations, right? Peaceful, love, passion, intuition, and emotion in general. So, but one thing you should remember is that for the people of the north back then, water was usually standing usually for the sea, and that was terrible for them, right? Because it was an unpredictable place, and also the home of the Midgard serpent and the tomb of countless sea fears, right? So therefore Laguz should be associated with the beautiful, but also with the less beautiful properties of the water. So because this rune addresses also primeval fears such as coldness, darkness, and all those terrible things that are deeply rooted into your subconsciousness, even from the past. So, and as Evas confronts the wanderer with his mortality, Laguz lets him examine the foundation of his self and his behavior, and allowing him to change his actions and eliminate disabilities. So, and the understanding and wisdom that we gained by Evas have prepared the traveler for the darker side, which is represented by Laguz, and he now accepts them as part of his whole self. You know, I'm getting here again. Again, you need to also accept the darker sides, and I talked about this with Evas and also Manas, and because it's part of us, right? As I mentioned that before, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's you. So, and also Laguz prepares the traveler to help others by examining and recognizing themselves, allowing them to better access to their own wisdom and experience. And that makes her, among things, the rune of the spiritual counselor. So you can see the symbol of the rune Laguz if you look at it as a wave, or the fast-growing green part of the leek, because the rune is also associated with the Germanic Laguz, as I said before, the leek, and which is expressed in the Old Norse rune names Lauke. And now we come to the meaning of it. The leek is a symbol of organic growth, and also the phallic power, the virtue, and fertility in the physical and in the spiritual realm. Laguz reigns over the doctrine of the herbal magic, I said that too, and which the ancient Norse was referred to as Lyf, and in Old English as Laknunga. The gleaming leek, and was often given to young men as soon as he proved to be a warrior. So, and again, if I talk about fertility or growth, it's not only in the physical of, it's also in the spiritual realm, because we're growing, right? So, and like I said, the Old Germanic, for them, this was the tradition, that was the symbol, a phallus symbol, the leek. So, and I want you to remember that now, every time you eat leek, and you will think of my words. I'm sorry I had to do that. So, the mythology part of Laguz is the foundational energy of life in the multiverse, and it's also the secret source of all organic life, right? The water. So Laguz is the law of life, and within the whole multiverse, as well as in Midgard, where we are on. So, and these are the layers. Or the laws, of past, cosmic, and human acts that determine the future evolution of life forms. So the Laguz rune stands for the primal water in Nilfheim, and this contains the latent, unformed potential of life, which is solidified into ice and must be charged with the energy by the fires of Muspelheim before it can be realized as a manifest pattern. And I talked about this before. So the Laguz rune is a powerful rune of initiation, especially initiation into life. So in pagan heathen times, a newborn child was sprinkled with water and given his name as soon as it proved worth living. So, and I don't mean like, oh, I don't think it's worth living, you know, as soon as I knew, okay, it's healthy, it can breathe, you know what I mean? So, and that's another thing that was taken away by we know who, you know? So, but anyways, and as a result, after this, the child was reintegrated into the life force of his tribe. Yeah? And I think that is really beautiful. Again, it's a connection again there, a bonding with the tribe, right? Which I talked last time how important. And the mystery of Wat Auza, which means ritual watering, of course, dates back to the pre-Christian times and is a major component of the ancient Nordic doctrine of reincarnation. So, there you go. So, the function of the Urus rune and Laguz rune, they're very closely related, but yet in different levels. So, Laguz also includes the rite of crossing the water at the end of life, right? So, crossing the primal water to reach the realm of dead, because that's a movement too that belongs to this life and the circle, and it's mentioned in many runes before. And in this context, the myth about Odin as a ferryman of the soul of importance, right? We've heard about this too. And the ship graves of the Vikings and the symbolic crossing of the water indicates, you know, that they believed in the crossing of the water, like the end of the life. So yeah, and just throwing this in here. So today we know about baptism, right? But it has so nothing to do with the old ways, right? It's a ritual indeed, but by putting the cross on the forehead, they're actually closing your third eye or trying to disconnect you with the force. So, and I mentioned that on Brian's show about religion, that nothing means to reconnect, but we don't have to reconnect because we are connected. And so why are they telling us we need to reconnect if they're actually trying to disconnect us, which they can't do in the first place? So just saying, but I'm not getting further into this here now, just, you know, had to throw it in. I always have to throw something in because I can't shut up. So let's go more on the runes. So the magical aspect that you can use them for. So again, the rune stands for water, right? So, and it presents a leak, which is said, and also the leak was often used in magic. So magic can be like leak in its effects. You can use it for yourself, but it's not safe, like eat it, right? But it's not safe to pull it out of the ground if you're uncareful, because you can easily cut yourself on the sharp sides. And you know, and a deep body of water may stand for the hidden unconscious, which spreads beneath the surface, but it's not visible. So, taking the leak as an example, don't just force things, you know? Don't force anything. Don't force to release anything with all might. It will happen, but don't force it. don't force magic or anything else, because you can cut yourself, you know, symbolic wise, I mean. So, and it's all there underneath the surface, and it will come. And when the time is ripe, you know, you can take it, but just don't pull it, be gentle. So, yeah, and back to the magic. Like I said, the sea was regarded as a source of life, and also stood for the mysteries of life and death, right? The sea gives, but the sea also takes life. So, and Laguz is also the collective unconscious of the universal knowledge. So be clear about your own perseverance and steadfastness, you know, in the face of fate trials, and the tremendous force within you that allows you to pass such tests, because we've all been tested, or we feel tested, and you will pass them, you know. I mean, I like to take the wall, you know. You enter a road, and at the end is the wall. So there's only so far as you can go. I mean, you can bang your head, it will just end up with a bruise and will not get you anywhere. So what do? You turn around and you try the next one, right? So in the next one there might be an obstacle that you don't see, and you fall. But you're not going to stay down, you're going to get up, and then you're going to take the next road. And then you will finally take the road that is clear, you know. So yeah, there will be obstacles in your way, you know, and but you have the strength to do it. So, and also on the magical aspect, this rune stands also for let me translate that. How can I translate? Yeah, like a drink, and or like a bowl of water, which is charged with the runic power in the ritual. So if you have a cauldron or even just a glass of water, you know, you can charge that water with the rune, and you don't even need to throw the rune in there. You just do your magic. And what you can use the rune for other than that is like if you want to work with Laguz, right? So it symbolizes a large, clean, clear river, and which brings everything that has stagnated back in life, or back to life. So you know, you might have left some things behind, threw them away in the water, just an example, but the sea will flash them back, and here, you missed that one, remember me, you know. Or yeah, or you throw in a dry flower, and the flower will soak the water and will flash back to the shore all nice, full of life again. But this is just an example. So yeah, if you want to use the rune like I said with these examples, if you want to just get rid of something, finally, you can use the rune of finally releasing it, or making sure that you really have released everything. And I'm not talking just releasing of inner things, like everything that you do not wish in your life, or things that you forgot about, things that you actually need, or you can't get your butt up, that are kind of stagnant. Like, I get that too. Sometimes I have days where I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing? Should I be doing it all? So this, if you work with this rune, it will help you with its element. So, and also neutral, the rune stands for the purifying power of water, right? And the positively that affects the emotional world, and reminds us of the importance of letting go, right? So, and again, I don't mean only like what we carry inside of you. Sometimes we have to let people go, we have to let situations go, right? But again, if you decide to work with a specific rune, not like an oracle, if you want to use the magic and the energy of the rune, of course you will know what it is. Those are, like I said, just keywords, just key examples, right? So, but also again, and let me say it again because I say it every time, use them with respect, because not used wisely, Laguz can stop everything, that has gotten in the way. And by that I mean it will just stay there. So, and also you can use the rune for strengthening, right? And for the development of clairvoyance abilities, right? Because it's a magical supporter, this rune, like I said. Or leadership in difficult tests, and can help you increase your vitality. Or the concentration of unformed magical power, or for structuring and shaping by your will. Like I said before, sometimes we're just stagnated, right? Like I said, we know it's there and we can feel it, but we need a little push to keep on going. So, or if you even are aware of the powers and you want to make them a little stronger, finally, to work with them. But be careful, remember the leak, right? Don't jank it out. Yeah, and it's also good for stabilizing the mental and the emotional deviations. It can protect you against cowardice, betrayal, like before, the inflexibility, like the stagnation. Also very good protection against poisoning, not kidding you. So you can wear an amulet if you and I'm not only talking about poisoning in form of that someone tries to poison you, opens the ring that he wears that is awfully big and then offers you a drink and the ring flipped open, you know what I mean. No, but I mean, we're getting poisoned daily, Is it from the air? Is it from the water? Is it from the food? Is it from medication? So yeah, this rune will protect you. Also protects against accidents, right? And yeah, it supports safe travels, you know. So it has a very strong effect on the body, that rune. And so therefore, like, it's responsible. It works well with your kidney and skin disease or kidney problems, because that brings me back to the poisoning, right? That's why it's an application for poisoning. And this brings me further to the herbal knowledge. So it's used for obtaining herbal knowledge. And it also can help healing from paralysis and immobility. Now, so of course, I mean, I'm not going overboard here. I mean, if you had a broken neck or paralyzed the hip down due to an accident, okay, it's very hard, of course, to recover, but it can give you support. So if you pulled that card as an oracle when this rune came to you, then depending on your question, it could show you success in travel or acquisitions, but also with the possibility of loss. So, but depending on your question, right? So also it's about spiritual, paranormal matters. I call it paranormal now, but you know what I mean. Like if you find you have something in your house, around you, right? So, because in definition, Laguz stands for the unknown, the hidden beneath the surface, like the water. And so it kind of tries to tell you that there is something you need to look for that is important, and that's what I mean with it could either show you the success, or it can show you the possibility of loss or not being successful, or just to watch out, that there is a risk involved in whatever situation. So, and also it can give you the message that it reveals. So what the rune tells you is it reveals its secret to the seeker, who, when he delves with circumspection. So, as I said, water is dangerous and can kill, but without the water, no life is possible. So it depends on the right degree, right? So act immediately and do not delay anything. So how can I say that? It's a saying in German, I hope I say that right. So learn to tame the weighing stallion. So, and in this case, the stallion is the ship that carries you over the water of life, right? So, yeah, so just be careful, be aware on your journey, be always aware, because something can pop out of the water, a storm can break loose, or there is no wind at all and you're stuck, So But like I said, again, it depends on the situation that you're in, what you're asking. So, and with this rune, I would like to connect the goose, not just because it's a water animal, but because Laguz is the rune of magic and the water. So, and back then for the Teutons, it was said that the sorceresses, they not only turned into cats or wolves, you know, shape-shifting, but also into geese, because they seemed so inconspicuous and harmless, right? No one would ever suspect that a magical creature is in a goose, because, yeah, you would rather think, oh, nice wolf, I wonder, right? But not with a goose. So, but don't underestimate a goose, and everybody who had made contact with a goose knows exactly what I'm talking about. And because even like for the Celts back then, the geese, you know, they were always alert to defend their families, right? We know that. And the Celts believed that goose is one of the best power animals for parents to learn to harness and strengthen their parental feeling and responsibilities, because the goose is also an animal. Yeah, right. She protects her little, you know, squeakies, and yeah, her territory. And like I said, everybody who made experience with a goose knows what I'm talking about. You cannot run fast enough from a goose, I tell ya. Been there, done that, and it was not pretty. So, and yeah, this is what she wants to tell us, right? Or that's why the Celts liked it, because they saw how the goose protected its territory and its family. So, and the goose is also an animal of the threefold goddess Rune. And depending on the color of the feathers, the plumage, the goose represents various aspects of the goddess, like the moon goddess, yeah? Or, yeah, the threefold goddess in general. So, if the plumage is bright, it represents the aspect of the Virgin. Is it colorful, then it's a symbol of motherhood, and the dark plumage, however, is a symbol of age. And we see that in the threefold goddess, right? So the goose encourages you to find oneself and to stand by oneself, you know? So we can, yeah, persistently withstand and enforce burdens. So we do not have to choose between clan and cognition, but we can have both, you know? We can walk our path, but we don't have to decide to do it alone. And the goose is next to the swan, like one of the most symbolic animals. Even we don't, you know, see that. But it represents purity, and it's closely related to the upper world. So, in the goose as a power animal stands for the feminine power, of course, too, of creation, and shows the way of the soul. Yeah, and it wants to draw attention to loyalty and reliability, because that was the goose does, right? And Yeah, and geese, they have a very pronounced social behavior within the group. So associations and they're usually loyal to their life partners for life, right? So the goose wants to invite you to be authentic and keep your soul flame burning. It's so important. And this happens mainly when you acknowledge that you are responsible for all matters in your life. And only by accepting this, you can, purposefully pursue your goals and bring all that into life, what you long for. So, and through the connection with the great whole, you are tethered and closer to the realization of your goals than ever before. So get hints and impulses from the shamanic world, for example, and how to master your partner in relationship. And relationship, I mean every relationship, not only between men and women, but it's also about being responsible, but you need to be responsible for your own self as well. Yeah, and once you accept that, like especially the good old blame thing. We constantly blame something or someone for us not being able to move forward. I mean, okay, I mentioned before some things we can't influence, like destiny-wise, they will just happen. And you can't influence them, but you have the ability to change certain things, okay? Yeah, and that brings me to the willow. Yeah, oh yeah, one thing to the goose. So next time you see a goose flying, maybe think about it, and look at them. They communicate and they fly so far, but it's all organized, and everybody, when they fly in the V shape, they know what to do. They all have their job, they all have their position, and they acknowledge their responsibility. And the one that's not taking on responsibility is probably left behind. So I'm not saying I would ever leave someone behind that is trying, but yeah, being respectful and responsible is very important for all of us. Yeah. So now we come to the willow. I love the willow. And yeah, I know I talked about the willow before too. It's a really magical tree, right? And it got an admirable ability of renewal. So, and it's so beautiful. And it's also very flexible, and adaptable. So, and it prefers the water side, or locations close to water, because it communicates with the emotional world and the moon. So, and in the willow is the power of the fertility goddess that was worshipped before. So, and for the Christians, the willow was rather scary. And when I say Christians, I'm not talking about the people living, they believe in God, right? I'm talking about the institution. I just want to clarify that again. So, and they demonized the willow as a witch. Wow. The stupidity in there. A tree, a witch. Okay. And how they said that the shape, the willow was a witch that took on the shape of a tree, or shapes of, or that the willow took shape of goblins or fairies and whatever, right? So, and when in fact the energy of the willow can open the perception from other dimensions. So they knew about it and knew about the power of it, and of course they have to do a little fear feeding, right? I wouldn't go to the willow, the goblins will get you, or whatever. So in the Druids, they celebrated the feast of the rebirth of nature at the time of the when the willow blossoms, and they put willow branches in the soil of their fields, and that's how they preserve the fertility of the fields. It's really nice. So also sexuality and fertility, they are clear attributes of the willow, I have to say. And then on one hand it causes fertility, it promotes, yeah, that's the right word, promotes fertility. And on the other hand, the willow was in the reputation of being able to cause infertility and impotence. So, which was used, of course, by the monks, but I'm getting in the I'm telling about this a bit later. So, but it was therefore mostly in a symbolic association with lost love, right? So the pasture, the willow is very water loving, and it stands between the solid earth and the water, right? So you could say the willow has the feet in cold water. It's a German saying too. So her roots, right? But she still has no stiff joints. She remains flexible and pain-free. So, and due to this, the signatures were made of like the shit. I need a herb for forgetting what I wanted to say. So, but but we know that the agents are for willow, like gout and rheumatism. So, and this is contained in the willow bark, the salicine, and which is a chemical model of aspirin. So aspirin is like the chemical. So, and willow bark contains the real deal, and it works really, really, really fine. So, but I get to the medical in a bit. So, so it was used back many times as a, pulverized, like as a powder for pain and all, or for fever. And for fever, because it was considered a cooling tree because of the water, right? So, and it's also said it slows down the sexual heat. So, and therefore it was planted, of course, in certain gardens in order to alleviate the lust and the, unhorniness of monastery gardens, I'd say. But whatever. So, the spirit of the tree, that's more important than some monastery gardens. So what this spirit of this tree can help you with is if you feel sad and disappointment, then the willow comes to you and hugs you so that you can shed your healing tears, right? And I like this. When you sit under a willow tree and the leaves are hanging down, it's so beautiful. And it really seems a little like tears when she weaves in the wind. So it's really beautiful. So you can tell the willow everything that like oppresses you and allow the pain to come up, right? And because in every loss, there is a possibility of a new beginning, so and you may be very serious and an irrational person right now, and only believing what you can see, but in this case, the spirit of the tree will come to you and show you that there is much more than we see. So the willow lets you immerse yourself deep into your emotional world and take a look into the other world as well. So that you can learn to trust in something that you sometimes cannot see, but only feel or only know intuitively. So after all, the essential things such as faith, love, hope and trust, can only be seen with the heart and not with the eyes, you know what I mean? So yeah, we cannot see everything and we cannot, put it on the table, but it's there, it's still there. So yeah, and she will help you also if you feel powerless or bitter and victimized. So yeah, so if you feel like all this and you're looking for certain answers, and sit under a willow tree. It's so beautiful. Yeah, and also of course you can smudge with willow, so it will help you with making important decisions, which supports of course Laguz, to be diligent. So she will give you straightforward skill that makes you decide for the right thing at the right time. So for one, and also if your soul has arrived like at the very dark point in your life, the willow incense will encourage you again, right? It takes away a bit of the darkness of the soul and lets a little light shine for you at the end. So, but all you have to do is to go into that direction, of the light, and to arrive at your, at your right decision. So it gives you protection on this path, and you know what? And we do not let anyone pursue us. I mean, some people, it's just the fact they do not treat us with a path to happiness, right? And we can also eliminate these people through positive energies that we can feel, for example, with the smudging. So you can release certain people peaceful, right? It doesn't have to be in anger or in a fight. So yeah, we no longer have to choose between yes and no, but we will know from the outset what we want. So the incense on the spirit of this tree, it will strengthen your self-confidence. So, because the willow is the spirit of the water, right? So, and that matches perfectly with Laguz. So, and of course the medical properties. Yeah, as mentioned, it's for fever, for pain. It's also very anti-inflammatory, so very positive there. It's good by colds, for flu infections, rheumatism, gout, migraine, headache. So, and you can take this for migraine and headache, and while regular headache medication, it's very risky to take migraine medication if you have just a regular headache, because you might end up with a worse headache. Yeah, don't ask me how and why, because I have no idea about the ingredients in those pills, neither do I want to. But my good family doctor told me that I get migraine, and he said from the very beginning, don't waste your money on this shit. That's what he said as a doctor. Yep. So he recommended me aspirin. He said if you feel a migraine attack coming, take aspirin. It will thin your blood and you will not even get the migraine. So yeah, of course I like my willow, right? So yeah, of course you can mix this with migraine for other things, but I'm drifting off here. So also external, it's good for your skin, for corn, the eye corn, and for warts. So yeah, so internally you can use it as a tea or as a tincture for fever, pain, and in addition with for rheumatism, or any inflammatory processes that you need to. And externally you can use the tea or the diluted tincture, so for bath or washes, right? Because salicylic acid has a property to soften, harden skin. Really nice. So yeah, therefore you can use the willow bark against the cornea and corns, and even for warts, but you just have to repeat the application very often on the wart. Yeah. What next? Yeah, then we have the goddess Nertus. So I'm just getting very short into that because it's a long story, and yeah, I just want to get a bit into it because it goes with Laguz and the water and growth and death and renewal. So Nertus was a Nordic Germanic earth and fertility goddess, and is the divine mother of the Vanen. So the mythological deities of the pre-Germanic Europe. So her name means earth. So, and she's the goddess of growth. And she was worshipped in a sacred grove on the island of 7 Germanic tribes: Freudigner, Avians, Fishing, Varenia, Eudosen, Suradonen, and Newtonen. So, and these formed the Nertus bond connection. So yeah, and they really celebrated her big time, right? So they really had a parade with a priest, and during that parade no one with a wagon, so a horse wagon, pulled the priest. That, in my opinion, looking back, invoked the spirit of Nertus or pretended to. And during that parade, no weapons were allowed to be worn. No one was allowed to fight. They were just saying goodbye to winter and welcoming spring, So like I said, there is a bigger story behind it, but it's too much. Like, I really can't into it. I mean, I have the story, so but I just wanted to get into it because she symbolizes fertility again, right? And says goodbye to the winter, so the death and the rebirth, the spring. And and what I really like, that people celebrated in joy, and that there was no argument allowed, no war was allowed. Everybody had to put their weapons down. So, and they had a big procession, like I said, with a horse cart and everything every year. And I think some do that even today on the north part at the ocean in Europe, I believe. But for me, and also some of the attributes you actually find in Freya, So, and for me personally, Nertus just represents our Mother Earth, I have to say. That's just what I feel, like, from the way she was celebrated, and wherever she appeared after the winter, everything started growing again, and also after the end of the that parade, that celebration, it said that the priest and the slaves were given over to the sea as a sacrifice, because no one was allowed to see her ever. Yet it said that this was probably a symbol that the water was the gate to the underworld, because it's also life-giving. So historical is not much to say about Nertus. So for me, like I said, it just, from the name as well, for me it just represents our Mother Earth in all aspects. And I think that's why she's connected with Laguz, right? And also because of the story that they were giving over to the water at the end, which comes close to the Vikings, giving their death to the sea. So you see, different stories, different names, but it's all the same. So that was a full hour now. Wow, and I tried to keep it short. That didn't work again, did it? But I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you back next Tuesday, the regular Tuesday. I apologize that I'm a day late, but I had appointments, things to take care of today. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all back next week. Much love. Bye bye.